Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
The assistant had not thought about the price of wheat before he asked the major if he could marry his daughter, but the major had thought about it. "I love her," said the assistant. "How much money do you make?" said the old man. "Well, 1,200 crowns right now, but we love each other." "That doesn't matter. 1,200 crowns is not enough. And I make a little more besides my salary, and Louisa knows that my heart." "Don't talk nonsense. How much more besides your salary?" He grabbed paper and pencil. "And my feelings." "How much more besides your salary?" And he drew squiggles on the paper. "Oh, we'll be fine if only. Are you going to answer my question or not?" "How much more besides your salary?" "Numbers. Numbers, my boy. Facts. I do translations for 10 crowns a page. I give French lessons, and I am promised work correcting papers. Promises aren't facts. Numbers, my boy. Numbers. Look here. Now, I'll write it down." "What are you translating?" "What am I translating?" "I can't tell you right away." "You can't tell me right away? You're working on a translation, you say. Can't you tell me what it is?" "Don't talk such rubbish. I am translating Guizot's History of Civilization, 25 pages. At 10 crowns a page, that makes 250 crowns. And then? And then? How can I tell beforehand? Can't you plan ahead? You should. Marriage isn't just living together and having fun. Kids will come, and they need food and clothes. We don't need to have babies right away if we love each other." "How do you love each other?" "We just do." He put his hand on his chest. "Will loving each other prevent kids from coming?" "You must be crazy. But you're a good person, so I'll give my permission. Use your time wisely and earn more money, because tough times are coming. The price of wheat is going up." The assistant blushed at the last words, but he was so happy to get the old man's permission that he hugged and kissed his hand. He was overjoyed. When they walked together for the first time down the street, they looked very happy. It seemed like everyone stopped to watch and cheer them on. They walked proudly with big smiles. In the evening, he visited her house. They sat together and read papers. She helped him. "He's a good man," laughed the old man. When they finished, he hugged her and said, "Now we've earned some money," and then he kissed her. The next evening, they went to the theater and took a cab home, which cost 12 crowns. Sometimes, when he was supposed to teach in the evening, he canceled his lesson and took her for a walk instead. But the wedding day was approaching. They were very busy choosing furniture. They started with the most important things. Louisa didn't plan to go with him to buy the bedroom furniture, but she went anyway. They bought 2 beds to put side by side. The furniture had to be real walnut. They needed mattresses with red and white stripes and soft pillows, and 2 warm blankets, exactly the same. Louisa chose blue because she was very fair. They went to the best stores. They got a red lamp and a Venus statue made of plaster. Then they got dishes and 6 sets of glasses with pretty edges, and knives and forks with their initials. And kitchen stuff. Mom had to go with them for that. And he had so much else to do. Bills to pay, trips to the bank, meetings with people who made things. They had to find an apartment and put up curtains. He took care of everything. Of course, He had less time for his work, but after they got married, he'd make up for it. They were only getting 2 rooms at first to save money. And since they were only getting 2 rooms, they could buy nice things. They rented 2 rooms and a kitchen on the first floor on Government Street for 600 crowns. When Louisa said they could have gotten 3 rooms and a kitchen on the 4th floor for 500 crowns, he felt a little embarrassed. But it didn't matter as long as they loved each other, right? Yes, of course, Louisa agreed. But couldn't they love each other just as much in 4 rooms for less rent, as in 3 rooms for more? Yes, he admitted he wasn't very smart, but as long as they loved each other, it didn't matter. The rooms were ready. The bedroom looked lovely with 2 beds side by side. The sun shone on the blue blanket, white sheets, and pillowcases with their initials, embroidered by an old aunt. They got married on a Saturday. Sunday was their first day as a married couple. It was wonderful to be married. They could do what they wanted, and family came to congratulate them. At 9 in the morning, their room was still dark. He didn't open the curtains, but turned on the red lamp. His wife looked happy and refreshed. It was quiet outside because it was Sunday and church bells were ringing. He told his wife to keep her eyes closed so he could get up and order breakfast. She hid her face in the pillows while he put on his robe and got dressed. Sunlight filled the sitting room. His old life seemed far away. He felt powerful and excited for the future. He picked up his clothes and found his tie on a picture frame. It looked like a big butterfly. He went to the kitchen. Everything was shiny and new. It all belonged to him and his wife. He called the maid, who came out in her underskirt, but he didn't notice. He told her to go to the restaurant and order a fancy breakfast. He knocked on the bedroom door. "Can I come in?" She squealed a little. "Oh, no, dear, wait." He set the table himself. When breakfast arrived, he served it on her new dishes. He folded the napkins and put her bouquet in a vase. When she came out in her morning gown and sat in the sunny spot, she felt a bit dizzy. He helped her sit down and made her drink a little wine and eat a special sandwich. What fun it was! They could do what they wanted now that they were married. What would Mama say if she saw her daughter drinking wine in the morning? He treated her like she was still his fiancée. What a special breakfast on their first day after the wedding. No one could say anything against it. Everything felt right, and they were very happy. He had eaten fancy breakfasts before, but this was different. He used to feel restless and unhappy, but now he was content. He felt sorry for bachelors who didn't know this joy. How silly people are not to get married. They should be taxed like dogs. "I feel sorry for poor men who can't afford to get married," said his kind little wife, "because I'm sure they would if they could." He felt a small worry about their finances, but shook it off with a glass of wine. They would make it work. Game? With cranberries and cucumbers. His wife was surprised, but it was delicious. "Louis, darling," she asked, "can we afford it?" "Luckily," she said, "we." "Pooh. It doesn't matter for once. Later we can have potatoes and herrings." "Can you eat potatoes and herrings?" "Of course." At 6 o'clock, a carriage came to their door. She loved the soft cushions as they rode to Deer Park. It's like lying on a couch, whispered Louis. She playfully hit his fingers with her sunshade. Friends waved at them, thinking they had come into money. Life felt perfect. For a whole month, they enjoyed balls, visits, dinners, and theaters. Sometimes they stayed home, which was just as lovely. How wonderful to leave her parents' house after supper without asking and go home to do whatever they liked. At home, they had simple suppers and talked late into the night. One day, his wife gave him a simple meal of salt salmon, potatoes, and soup. He loved it and was tired of fancy food. But the next Friday, he came home with 2 birds. Guess what happened? I bought these 2 ptarmigans at the market for just 1 crown. His wife seemed more annoyed than curious. I have bought ptarmigans for less before, but that was during a very cold winter, she said, trying to make him happy. Well, you must admit I got a good deal. She would agree with anything to see him happy. She had ordered boiled grains for dinner, but after eating the ptarmigan, Louis regretted he couldn't eat more grains to show he liked them. He really liked grains, but milk upset his stomach. He couldn't drink milk, but he would love to have grains every night. They never had grains again. 6 weeks after their wedding, his wife got sick. She had headaches and felt nauseous. It seemed like a cold, but why the sickness? Were the copper pots okay? He called the doctor. The doctor smiled and said it was fine. What was fine? No, it couldn't be. Maybe the bedroom wallpaper had arsenic. They sent a piece to the chemist. No arsenic, reported the chemist. How strange. No arsenic? His wife was still sick. He read a medical book and whispered a question to her. A hot bath. For weeks later, the midwife said everything was as it should be. Of course. Only it was a bit early. They were happy. A baby. They would be parents. What should they name him? It would be a boy. But now she had a serious talk with her husband. He hadn't done any translating or proof correcting since they married. His salary wasn't enough. Yes, they hadn't thought about the future. But they were young. Now, things would change. The next morning, the assistant visited an old school friend, a registrar, to ask for a loan. When you are going to be a father, you have to think about more expenses. Exactly, which is why I couldn't get married, said the registrar. You are lucky to have the means. The assistant hesitated. How could he ask this bachelor, who couldn't afford a family, for help? He couldn't do it. When he came home, his wife said 2 men had visited. What did they look like? Were they young and wore glasses? They must be lieutenants, old friends from back home. No, they were too old to be lieutenants. Then they were old college friends from UPS, maybe P, the lecturer, and the curate, now seeing how their old friend was doing. No, they were from Stockholm. The maid was questioned. She thought the men were shabbily dressed and had sticks. Sticks? I don't know who they could be. We'll find out when they return. But I saw a basket of strawberries at a very cheap price. Imagine strawberries at this time of year. But, darling, where will this spending lead to? It'll be fine. I got an order for a translation today. But you're in debt, Louis. Small debts. It'll be fine when I get a big loan soon. A loan? That's more debt. True, but with easy terms. Don't worry now. Aren't these strawberries delicious? A glass of sherry would be perfect with them. Lena, go get a bottle of the best sherry. After his nap, his wife wanted to talk seriously. You won't be mad, right? Mad? No. Is it about money? Yes. We owe money at the stores. The butcher wants his payment. The stableman wants his money. It's very stressful. Is that all? I'll pay them all tomorrow. How dare they bother you? We won't shop there again. Let's go for a walk. No carriage? We'll take the car to the deer park to cheer up. They went to the deer park and got a private room at the restaurant. People stared and whispered. They think we're having fun, he laughed. What madness. But his wife didn't like it. They had a big bill to pay. If we stayed home, we could have bought many things with that money. Months passed. The baby was coming soon. They needed a cradle and baby clothes. The husband was busy all day. The price of wheat had risen. Times were hard. He couldn't get translation or proof-correcting work. People didn't buy books. They bought food. Ptarmigans were expensive, and the livery stables charged for carriages. Stores wanted cash for goods. The big day finally came. It was evening. He ran for the midwife. While his wife gave birth, he had to calm the creditors. At last, he held his daughter. Tears fell on the baby as he realized his responsibility. He made new promises, but he was stressed. He couldn't finish a translation because he was always busy. He rushed to his father-in-law, who was in town. We have a little daughter. Great, replied his father-in-law. Can you support a child? Not right now. Please help us, father. I'll help you for now. I can't do more. I have to support my own family. The patient needed chickens and wine at 6 crowns a bottle, the best available. The midwife asked for 100 crowns. Why pay her less? She got 100 crowns from the captain. The young wife recovered quickly. She looked like a girl, thin and a bit pale, but it suited her. The old man spoke privately with his son-in-law. No more children for now, he said. You'll be ruined. What a thing for a father to say. We're married, we love each other, we want a family. Yes, but not until you can support them. You must remember your responsibilities. Even his father-in-law had become practical. What a sad world it was. A world without ideals. Their home was falling apart, but their love remained strong. The bailiff was harsh. Seizure and bankruptcy threatened. Let them take what they want. The father-in-law came with a large coach to take his daughter and grandchild. He warned his son-in-law not to come to his house until he paid his debts and had a home. He didn't say anything to his daughter, but it felt like he was taking back a disgraced girl. She wanted to stay with her husband, but he had no home for her. So, after just 1 year of marriage, the husband was left behind as his home was plundered. The men with glasses took everything: beds, kettles, dinner set, chandelier, everything. He was alone in the empty rooms. He wished she was with him. But she was better off where she was, cared for. Now the struggle for survival began. He found work as a proof corrector for a daily paper. He started at midnight and finished at 3 in the morning. He kept his job but lost any chance of promotion. Later, he could visit his wife and child once a week, never alone. He spent Saturday night in a tiny room near his father-in-law's bedroom. On Sunday morning, he returned to town for work. He calculated it would take 20 years to pay his debts. And then, he couldn't support a wife and child. And his future? He had none. If his father-in-law died, they'd be on the street.